Time to get our fingers all inky now. We're going to turn our attention to the French papers, and Elena's with it. You've got the one. You're the one with the inky fingers. You've got lots of print of Silvio Berlusconi on your hands, I suspect.
I don't want to go very far with that analogy, so I'm going to stop it. Ciao Berlusconi, that's the front page over here at Libération. Now, of course, we were looking at what the Italian and international papers had to say about his finally deciding to leave yesterday. French papers often a little bit behind the curve when it comes to international news, but they're all headlining on it today. Inside Libération, they say what's interesting is the undemocratic nature of the process by which both Papandreou and Berlusconi have been forced to leave office. It wasn't protesters on the street or the ballot box that forced them out. It was financial markets and Nicolas Sarkozy and Angela Merkel deciding from Brussels how southern Europe is to be governed. But Libération says, well, that's not a very democratic precedent. We should nevertheless be celebrating because Italy has managed to rid itself of a megalomaniac.
The papers are kind of looking at his legacy as well, aren't they? Megalomaniac and legacy. I'm not quite sure if the two words go together, but anyway.
Well, look at this interesting piece inside of Libération, which is about the legacy they think he's left to Italy. Now, they reckon Berlusconi has made Italians more narcissistic and materialistic than they were before. They say his bling-bling nature has made it more socially acceptable in Italy to show off your wealth and get plastic surgery. And they also say that there's a whole class of Italian men that took him as a model, that saw him and his self-made wealth and his Sardinian villa and his beautiful women and looked at him and said, I want to be like that. And that he's really created a culture of little Berlusconis. The problem, though, is that they've also copied his example in terms of defiance of the courts and tax evasion. The paper reckons his bad example is one of the main reasons why so many people in Italy do avoid their taxes.
And Le Monde, they're celebrating.
Yes, they've got curtains for Berlusconi as a headline there, and in their editorial they say, finally, some good news for the Eurozone. They say it was democratic, really, because there was a vote in Parliament that pushed him out in the end, and he's done the only thing that he could have done for the Euro, which is to go. If we have a look at this cartoon on the front page, we've got a rather sad Berlusconi wandering off going, my leaving party's been ruined. There's a ratings agent in the bed, and behind him we've got this bed with a number of busty ladies, and a specky-looking man holding up a 0 out of 20 scorecard for Berlusconi's economic policy there, of course.
Which one's the rating agency in that picture? That's what I want to know. The economic news coming out of Italy, though, it's still not good, is it?
It's not. Here at Le Figaro, we've got a state of alert over Italy. They say in their editorial that Berlusconi's done the right thing. The only thing he could do was to go now and go quickly, but it still won't solve all of Italy's problems. It could trigger political chaos that will create worse economic problems in the short term. They also have a look at the relationship between Angela Merkel and Nicolas Sarkozy inside that paper, because it seems that they're the ones making all decisions about what's happening in the Eurozone now. They say Germans are worried about the economic instability of France, saying it from the German point of view. It looks like France has a huge over-bloated welfare state that it can't quite prop up, and Germans are desperate to get the French to slim down their welfare state because they're worried that one day they might have to bail us out.
Elena, though, has got one bit of unusual news for you, because apparently austerity is good for you. Is that right?
Well, it is if you're Nicolas Sarkozy, according to a poll made by Les Echos. This is quite surprising, actually, if we have a look, because they've got him up 8 points on the last poll they took just a month ago. But they say that all of his good moments in the polls have come after he's announced tax rises and budget cuts. So obviously it goes down well with his key electorate, especially older people.
All of those, as though, are worried about austerity.
Well, some are. This lovely couple, George and Suzanne, on the front page of François, couldn't quite get by on their €1,000 a month pension, so they decided to reopen the bakery that they ran in the 1950s. George is 84 and his wife is 81, but they say, apart from the money, they didn't know what to do with all their time off, so now they've reopened. They're happy to have a reason to get up in the morning.
What we want to know, though, is are they going to redecorate? That's the most important thing. All right, Elena, thank you very much. That's Elena Casas here at this time every day with the French newspapers here on France 24. Do stay with us. Later news headlines coming up very shortly.